y'all. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us for this March Evidence-Based Practice Network. We're excited to have Heather Alexander from Newberry High School. Newberry is one of the partner districts with the Academic Alliance, and she's going to share some strategies on scaffolding. So, Heather, I'm going to let you take it away. Thanks for being with us today.
Well, thank you for having me. I am very glad to be here. So yeah, we're doing scaffolding today, and got a weird angle here. There we go. All right. Can you guys still see this? Yes, there we go. So today we're going to be talking about defining scaffolding and its importance. We're going to identify 3 different types of scaffolding, and then I want to show you guys some tools that will make it really easy to do in your class. First of all, as a teacher, right, I have to give you my vocab list. Scaffolding is just dividing up skills or the requirements or the knowledge or whatever you're trying to do into smaller chunks or segments that are more accessible. Okay. Then content, I think about it like Legos or building blocks. You're gonna have to start somewhere. Uh, Content scaffolding is giving a student an easier skill so that they master it faster while you demonstrate the harder skill. Task scaffolding is a step-by-step, like think aloud, where you tell the kids exactly what you're thinking as you do the process or the skill. And then material scaffolding is things like diagrams or lists, or signage in your classroom, to remind kids that these are the steps we're going to follow and that's how we need to get this done. See here. All right. So just so you guys know really quick about me, I was not originally a teacher. I worked for a decade in construction. So you're going to have to deal with some construction talk here. And this is how I understand it, why it's so important. If I asked you guys to come in and build a house, but you have never even seen a house built before, there's absolutely no way you can do that until I break it up and teach you each step. So we're going to learn how to build a house. Actually, please do not use this as construction advice. It is not. But step one, you have got to figure out the ground. Okay. Especially the construction I was in, we did foundation repair. If you build on bad ground, your entire thing is going to collapse. So we have to figure out what ground we're working with. This is going to be finding out your reading or math levels for all your kids. Now, if you have kids with IEPs, the easiest way to do that is just to ask their case manager or their resource teacher. Sorry, Holly's in here. I was looking to her for the word. For the resource teacher, or like I'm self-contained teacher. One of the things that I got from one of my favorite gen ed teachers is the beginning of the semester, she called me, was like, all right, I need levels, I need math, I need reading, I need to know how to diversify this. Like, we are individualizing this education and you gonna get it. And she got it. And now everything she does is on different levels. And it's so cool. The other thing is you need to know if they've previously acquired knowledge. I tell my kids all the time, do not let me spend a week teaching you how to use punctuation if you already know how to do it. Okay, that's boring for you. That's boring for me. Let's not do that. So let's figure out what they already know. And then any existing skill levels. And these are things like even as much as can they write, like physically write? Do they need a screen or an interactive thing to communicate? If you don't know what their skill levels are, it's going to be very hard to make that communication happen. And then there's other content specific needs. One of the things I always joke about, because I teach a couple of different classes, is you have to know who you can trust with the scissors. And that's not mean. That's just you need to know. So that is content specific, right? If I'm teaching people how to do how to make shirts, I have a heat press. I need to know who I can trust to be around that heat press. All right. So next up, you're gonna build a foundation. I just mentioned foundations a minute ago. This is going to be based on where they're at. Okay. If you have somebody at a second grade reading level, please do not try to teach them, anti-disestablishmentarianism. They will get the anti, and that is all you're going to get. So based on their reading or math levels, you begin to introduce new academic vocabulary. And just like I did at the beginning, vocab first. That way, they can at least follow along and know what you're talking about while you're doing it. Also, refer back to any like previously acquired knowledge or life experiences. The easiest way for people to connect to what you're learning, especially students, is if they can connect it to something they already know. Um, if you tell them, my favorite thing is I know nothing about pop culture. So I always ask them, like, hey, what does this remind you of? And then they're going to tell me something. I'm like, cool. I don't know if you're lying, but if that helps you, awesome. The other thing is utilize those existing skills in learning. Okay. Especially when you get into students with more exceptional needs. If they have a skill, like, they can cut and glue and they are good at that, use that skill. Use that skill to help them learn something new. And finally, repetition. Repetition is your friend at this stage. You cannot repeat it enough because the more they hear it, the more they see it, the more likely they are to remember it. All right. So, step 3, you're going to frame it out. Okay, this is where I told you do not take this as real construction advice. But this is where you can get creative. Okay? You need to push the students beyond their comfort level. Just because they finally got those vocab words down does not mean that's where we stop. We got that foundation. Now we got to actually put something together. Also, introduce things one at a time. Don't be like, here's the entire chapter. Good luck. You want them to get one concept at a time, and as they gain mastery, you move on. You can even increase the difficulty level slowly, depending on where they started, to help them learn not only new skills, but how to deal with a higher difficulty level. Okay. And make sure that you use various learning techniques. At the last stage, I was like, just repeat the same things. Don't move forward. But once you get to this stage, you really need to like make sure that if you got a hands-on person, they're getting something hands-on. If you've got somebody who really likes videos, they're getting video. Okay. Or they're making videos. I like that one better. Okay. Hands-on activities are some of the best things you can do, especially for kids that are struggling. It gives them a way to feel successful, right? And not feel like they can't do it. And finally, we need to make it a home. This is where you let them decorate it, let them show it off. Excuse me. You want your kids to demonstrate what they know. One of my favorite ways to do this is peer tutoring. If I have somebody that got it and somebody that didn't get it, the person that got it is going to be giving it to the person that didn't. Because it makes them both feel better. Especially because sometimes, I mean, I'm almost 40 and these kids are like 14. Sometimes if I'm explaining it, they're not picking up what I'm putting down, but their friends can explain it on a level that they understand. Also, before you move on to like a different unit or a new thing, make sure everybody based on their levels is on the same page. Because if they didn't get it and you're moving on to a different topic, it's just going to get more confusing for them. All right. Finally, make sure that and I know I don't have to tell teachers this, most teachers already know this, but everybody loves being told that they're doing something, that they've got it, they're doing a good job. Um, so I always try to make sure that I let everybody know when we get to the stage how proud I am of them, because it's not easy. No. All right, so that's my thing. Now we're going to talk about the 3 different types. We have, like I said earlier, content, task, and material. And because I'm a teacher, you guys got some sites. I'm not going to read them to you, but from Iris, I think everybody uses that one. This is where you're showing content or a skill on a lower level for them to gain mastery before you go up. And my favorite way of doing this is with actually lowering the level. And when we get to tools, I'm going to show you guys how to do this. But we went from Black History Month in February, and I'm teaching American history as well. So I wanted to keep it together, right? We just learned about Black history. So now I can move with that prior knowledge that they've already acquired. We can move into Black soldiers in the Civil War. So I've connected those two things there, but I've added something new. The problem is that the article I found is on the 9th grade level. My kids, majority of my students read on the 2nd grade level. but it still had really good information. So I didn't want to lose it. I just had to modify it. So I'm not going to ask you guys to read the whole article. And in the folder I gave you guys two, I think it was Reconstruction articles. One was the original, and then there's two translated versions. But even without reading this, you can kind of see. I mean, we're starting off with like a long time ago. There was a war called the Civil War. That language is already at the level my kids can get. Also, I love the fact that the program I used for this kept all of um, the bold font, so everybody can like pick up. You can also go back and add that if you need to. Bolding and highlighting certain phrases that you want them to pick up on is an easy way to help them remember which content you want them to focus on. All right. Task scaffolding. This is where I was talking about you walk through the steps and you think alouds and you show them how to do it. And this is where you guys get to make fun of me. This is my kids' favorite. My students love this method of scaffolding. And I mostly use it when I'm doing research or like showing them how I read something. But their favorite one this year was I had them researching authors and I assigned the authors. And so they didn't know who they were and they weren't interested. And so I said, well, here, watch me do it. You guys give me somebody you know I've never heard of. And they gave me Offset. And so I stood in there and I did the entire research project on Offset. Um, and I was able to show them how to do it in probably about 15, 20 minutes. Um, is, if you exclude laugh breaks. But they had a great time watching me not know anything. They loved that. And as I'm thinking aloud, I'm going, well, all right, I got to figure out who this guy is. And we're doing the research and we're thinking it through. And that leads to this point. When you think it out, don't forget to like include mistakes. Okay. As I was doing the offset research, one of the websites stated that he was on the Masked Singer as the cupcake. And I looked at the kids like, y'all, I don't even know this guy, but I have a feeling that he probably wasn't a cupcake. And we did some research and turns out, no, he was not a cupcake. It was his mother. So that showed that not every website that we find, just because it pops up in Google, doesn't mean it's right. Okay. So we learn from those things. If you accidentally mix up a number, go back and fix it and be like, y'all, listen, this is why you have to proofread. This is why you have to check your work. And this is a fun fact because I couldn't help but add it. We did also find out he was in the Baby Shark movie. So, and I can verify that one. So, yeah, not the cupcake, but he was in Baby Shark. And finally, material scaffolding. This is where we use diagrams. This is my absolute favorite one. I love a diagram. I will give a kid a checklist and a visual schedule all day long. Because it keeps them oriented. And what you're seeing there is actually one of my, as I say, material scaffolding can be used for behavior. One of the coolest things is like, as you can see here, I use this as a behavior intervention. So this is laminated. What you're seeing there, that behavior and consequence thing is laminated in my classroom. And we use a dry erase marker and just check it off. So I have a student that doesn't like to stay focused when he has a computer in front of him. So first time I catch him, clearly a warning. If I catch him again, we're going to have lunch detention and I'll take the internet for 5 minutes. If we go any further, right, you see that we're getting more extreme. So then we're going to lose our computer for the whole class. Then we're going to lose our computer for the day and I have to call mom. And I've even drawn like, here's how you're going to feel when this happens, right? If you're sitting in lunch detention by yourself, you're going to be mad. Okay. If you lose your computer for the day, you're going to be very upset. So, hey, let's just keep it at that warning. This is one I did for, this is a higher level one. This is what I did for English 3, my first year actually at Newberry High School. I kept getting things that were clearly not original to their supposed author, let's just say. And so I finally made a flow chart and I just had to say, listen, before you turn this in, you need to follow these directions to see if you are cheating or if you are actually doing it correctly. So I just did the yes or no. Is this common knowledge? Yes. All right. You don't decide that. That's cool. Is this your original thought? Yes. Cool. You don't decide it. But if it's not your original thought, someone else's thought, or you're rewording it, you need to cite it. And then after that, they couldn't come back and say, well, Miss A, I didn't know this was cheating. Oh, no, I gave you a grid, man. There were arrows. It was green and red. You could figure it out. So that helps, right? And it also shows that you are making sure that everybody knows where you're at and on the same page. All right, these are my 3 favorite tools to do this in. In fact, the PowerPoint that you guys are currently looking at, it came from Canva for educators. I think they're great for making material scaffolding. Then the Brisk Chrome extension is great for making content scaffolding. And I'll be honest with you guys, Chat GPT is like my big friend when it comes to making any form of scaffolding. And I'm going to show you guys how that works. So if you download the PDF of this, those are all links. So you can click on those links and it'll take you directly to it. You can also search. All right, so here's some Canva things. This is the best thing about Canva is that it already has them made. I literally just Googled, processes. And there you go. Here's how to wash your hands. Here's the different types of triangle. I don't know if it's right because I've never taught math. It was part of my contract deal. But I mean, I assume. And I definitely know that's how you wash your hands. So you can do things like that without even having to touch things. Like they have had so many pre-made, diagrams and flow charts and things. And it's super easy. All right. Brisk is one of those things that it has some technical flaws. And I want you guys to understand that it is great for articles. Like I have used it on CNN and science.com. Anything that is made for a general consumer audience, awesome. I'm going to show you some examples in a minute of why you have to be careful with Brisk, okay? But we'll get to that. And then here we go. This is my favorite one, Chat GPT. You can see that I say please and thank you to the AI, but I think that's just because I'm old. So what you have here is I've put in, and once again, I don't do math, so I had to make sure I was even spelling that correctly. Can you create a think aloud activity for the Pythagorean theory on the 2nd grade level? And it immediately came up with a script. I mean, that is an honest to goodness script. So if you don't want to think aloud, it will tell you how to think. Then all you have to do is read it. I'm a big fan of that. Like I like it when I don't have to overthink it. I also have, this is the last one, and I don't know that I suggest this one as much, but I bought a software program a while back called SketchWow, and that's what I love. I like the comic book style, So these are just some things that you can make in SketchWow. That is not a endorsement of that product. I'm just telling you that's something that I use. Are we there? There we go. We're excited. All right, so I'm gonna close this screen and share. Before I go on, does anybody have any questions in the chat? I'm trying not to go over time here.
I don't see any questions yet, but
All
if
right,
somebody,
cool.
we've got a small group, and if people want to come off mute and ask a question, please do so now. It's a perfect time to do it. We're giving the pause. I'm not very good at that, but I'm trying. All right.
All right. Sorry. I think it's great that I got credit for the pause, and I was just sitting here trying to figure out how to work the computer. I'll take it. All right. So as you can see here, what I have done is I had a PDF that was on the 8th grade level about Reconstruction, and I put that in the documents you guys can find in the folder. And so I asked ChatGPT, I said, hey, can you change the reading level and the questions of this document to the 2nd grade level? And then I got this beautiful on the 2nd grade level using super simplified language. And it even took these great discussion questions and changed them into, hey, can you find this information? So I've got my lower level thinking questions, and then I've got my apply these questions. And it's awesome. for that. It really is. That being said, let's see if I can make this share. So that's Chat GPT. Share. Let's see if I can get this to open up. This is CommonLit. I don't know how many of you guys use CommonLit. But if you use this or any type of program like it, you're going to get these issues if you try to use Brisk instead of Chat GPT. So let's see here. Here's my Reconstruction article that you just saw. And I know you'll notice up here, and I've got instructions. If you go look into, oh no, I didn't give those instructions, but there is, Brisk is the Chrome extension, so you can just apply it. If you see down here, can you guys see? I'm trying to look at and see. Okay, that popped up. There is something there that says change level. So I'm going to change the level and show you guys. We're going to change it to second grade. Brisk does not like websites like this. Okay. Because if you look at it, there's all these other things going on the side, so it doesn't know what to translate. Okay. If you download, let's see, you can see it's going right here. You can see how it starts to do this text talks about Reconstruction and then it repeats itself. That's because it's trying to like figure out which one of those sides it needs to do. That's why for things like that, I always try to use Chat GPT. But let me show you. Oh, I already had it up here. We're going to pick something from the Associated Press. Please don't judge me. This was just the first one I thought of for, you know, websites we can use. We're going to go JFK files. That seems like it's safe. And I'm going to use Brisk here. Okay. And there is, by the way, there is a Brisk version of that article in the Reconstruction. There is a version of this so you can see where the errors pop up. If you use it, please, please, please just be careful and double check to make sure that it hasn't done anything, wonky. All right, where are you, Brisk? Oh, here we go. Always in the dark, always in the corner. So, really? There we go. All right, it's going to ask me to change. I'm going to change the level again here. We're going to go second grade. You can see it knows what I prefer. But now you guys can see how it works with CNN. Or not CNN, AP. I know what news site I'm using. All right. As it generates, I also want to tell you guys Brisk has a great option here where even if this is too long for your kids, like say you need to chunk it or you need it to be shorter, it'll give you the option to shorten it. It just summarizes things, makes it see if you see right there. One of the things they'll say, is it popping up so y'all can see it? Yes. Okay. So one of the things you can see there is make shorter or make longer. I don't normally use make longer, but you're welcome to. You can also translate it. It'll make you a quiz. It'll make you a vocab list. And I haven't tried the lesson option yet because normally I like to, make my own. But I'm pretty sure that at this point, the way AI works, it'll be great. You can also use Brisk to make slideshows for you automatically on YouTube videos, if that's something you're interested in. I have not done that yet. But like I said, this is something that I absolutely love because it takes like 5 seconds. If you've got a kid that's reading on the first grade level, cool, I got you. We joke because I used to be an English teacher. I joke with my old department all the time that if I had this at the beginning, no one would ever have gotten below a passing grade because I'm like, oh, you read on the 8th grade level? Cool, here you go. And we also joked that we made story of an hour into a paragraph, and they didn't know how they felt about that. So, are there any questions? I came in under time and started late.
Heather,
Heather, I have one question for you.
Okay.
When you're looking at specific vocabulary that you want to highlight for kids, no matter what level they're reading at, can you go back in and insert those academic vocabulary words at the different levels that you use for scaffolding?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Trying to think there was an example. Hey, and you know what's great is that she told me I could use this. So I got permission in advance from a current issues teacher who I think, like I said earlier, I think I mentioned that she's just the best at scaffolding for gen ed. Let me see if I can get that open for you guys. Now, understand, my self-contained students are in this teacher's class. So it's not even like, you know, it's like this is literally being used day to day. I'm trying to come up with the right words. Y'all gonna have to entire screen. Entire screen. There we go. All right. Can y'all see this? Okay. So this is for current issues, and she made this. I did not help her. She is very artsy craftsy. I love it. Oh, whoa, go too fast. All right. So she wanted all of our kids to know the different types of charts. So she made them this document and they can refer back to it. And it's going to be using the vocab that she wants them to know, but it also has pictures and things that, like you're going to see right here on this page, she's using quantitative data as a word, but then right beside it, she's got the word numbers. Well, my kids aren't probably going to remember quantitative data. They will remember that if you got circles, you need to know how many numbers or how many circles you have and put that in the chart. If we go on to the next one, let's see here. We've got graphing, and then she has all these little explanations of what each thing is. So this is a material scaffold. If they're doing a graphing exercise and my kids have this in front of them, they can go back and go, oh, okay, it says to put it on the x-axis. Which one is that again? And then they can go look it up and just be like, oh, okay, cool. It's the one that goes horizontally. Now, sometimes they might have to remember what horizontal is, but that's okay. Right? That's okay. That's just part of that remembering repetition. The more they hear it, the more they do it, the better they're going to be at it. Okay. So this is where you're using the technical vocab, but the idea for the content scaffolding, the idea is made simpler. Does that answer your question?
Can you guys
Yeah,
hear me?
that's great.
yes.
I just have a comment. I just wanted to say, like, just to piggyback on definitely, I'm an ED teacher. In case some of you guys don't know, I'm an emotional disabilities teacher, but your scaffolding methods, some of the ones that you use, are you speaking of, especially this one right here, is definitely useful because in ED, like we talk about different feelings, different emotions, and we have different curriculums that we use. But sometimes when it comes down to relating things to certain situations and bringing back to, I guess like bringing up certain situations like scaffolding, like you're going back, you're reliving certain situations, you're remembering certain feelings, having it like where they can actually see it, the visual scaffolding, it is amazing for them because it's like once they're able to understand or they see the emotion, like you can say all day, oh, little Susie was sad because of this, that, and the third. Well, for some kids, like that can look different. So the having the visuals to help them relate back to what you're actually talking about, it's amazing. And I've definitely used this before, and it definitely does work, especially with teaching ED. Now I've taught gen ed too, but it's like in certain curriculums you can use this method a little bit more, and it's very flexible to use if you know how to use it.
Yeah, I want to show you guys one real quick for that purpose. Because I have a couple of students who have not, that's not their I hate diagnosis label. That's not our focus. We'll go with that one.
Here's a question, Heather, about how do you create the graph too?
Which graph? The one that's on the screen?
I'm thinking the one on the screen.
Oh, that is a template actually. That's a Google Slides template. And the lady who made it is a genius beyond my level. So if it's not Canva or one of those programs, I don't normally use it as much. But the one I've got right here that I'm showing, I have a student who their behavior is task avoidance. So they'll ask to go to the bathroom 100 times a day. And I just finally was like, look, man, I don't think you need to go to the bathroom. I think you just need a break. Like, let's just set this up. And here's some things you can do, right, that don't require asking me to go to the bathroom. And then I gave them a set amount. So like each day you get 5 of these. You can go to the bathroom twice because you still have, all the breaks and lunch and everything else. But then if you need 3 like extra, just like pause moments, all right, cool, we got them. You're right there. Use it. So, and like I said, yes, for Kim, I think the program that I was showing a minute ago is Google Slides. So,
And you've done a nice job of including these. They're in the folder, in the materials folder, so that you can look at these, go back and look at them as examples, which was really nice, Heather, to include those in that with your materials.
oh yes, thank you. Like I said, I love these things. So, all right. And why does it keep? We've reached the recording limit. My time is up.
All right. Heather, do you have any other things you want to show?
No, I'm great. Like I said, if you ever have a question or you need help making something, just email me. I make so many of these now. I think I do it in my sleep. So yeah, if you need help, just like I said, email me and I'll definitely help you out.
Thank you so much. And I just enjoyed seeing technology being used, and it's great to see all the different tools we have that just make this work so much easier. Please